The 966K is one of a long line of the 966 series of wheel loaders. It's a medium-sized machine and it weighs around 24 tonnes. This model is another one of the early releases from the Tonkin Caterpillar program. And the key thing to note is that it's 1/87 scale, so it's actually quite small. It comes in a Caterpillar branded box and it lists a few of the features of the model, but there's no information about the real 966K. Inside the box, the packaging has popped together sides so you can easily lift the model out, and there's no assembly to do because it's complete out of the box. Looking underneath, the rear axle is detailed quite well, but the area behind the front axle is somewhat simplified. But the rubber tyres have a good tread pattern and the small wheels are quite detailed. Given the size, the rear grille is good and it has a cat logo. As a compromise, the side grills are black painted indentations rather than perforations. The cab detailing is good because there's a windscreen wiper and mirrors, and inside the seat also has the cat logo on the back. Under the cab, the pivot point is fairly simple, but the steering pistons are provided. Outside the cab there are textured surfaces and the handrails are plastic and quite delicate. The loader mechanism is modelled well because the rivets don't stand out as they're painted. The bucket is also a decent little casting with the wear plate detailed on the underside. And bear in mind, this bucket is not much bigger than the top of a finger. Let's deliver the 966K to the Cranes Etc. microsite. And to do that, it's delivered by the Grandaddy 1/50 scale 966K. Don't you just love the realism of these reviews? Trying to drive the 966K is fine, although the steering does have no friction, so the front axle tends to turn. The wheels are joined on common axles and there's a very slight amount of oscillation possible on the rear axle. However, the front axle doesn't oscillate and is fixed as it should be. For the next part of the test, we'll ship in a specially made, very expensive 1/87 scale quarry floor, and the 966K enjoys itself immensely as the tyres bite as it pushes along. Let's have a look now at the loader mechanism. The cut angle is good and the carry angle is reasonable, although it can't quite hold the pose. And if we go up in the weld, the bucket reaches a reasonable height. If you pull it any higher, the pistons will pop out of the cylinder jackets. But on Cranes Etc. we respect our machines, so we'll show the tipping angle instead. Next is a genuine imitation, nothing like real life test, and we'll bring the 1/50 scale 966 alongside. As you can see, this is a much smaller model. 1/87 is a small scale and Tonkin have done a good job here to produce something that's reasonably detailed. The features work well enough, and so if you're interested in collecting in a smaller scale, then it's easy to recommend.